With the Gate 49, we learned that the support for the right revolution can lead to meaningful changes, and also that sometimes, though the path is not always easy, it is necessary to walk it for impactful changes to be realized. And with clarity and conviction, and with the power of the clinging fire of the Gate 30, there comes an intensity that says, we can. And our hearts burn for change, and that thing that we only dreamed about somehow gets a little closer. And we start to believe that maybe someday it will be ours, but only if we believe and hold on tight. Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and welcome to episode 5 of the Mandala of Life, the Gate 30, also called the Gate of the Clinging Fire and of Feelings. And if you haven't already, please make sure you check out previous episodes of the Mandala of Life. For now, let's move into a new energy, one that's all about being driven by a powerful desire to fulfill your dreams. When we talk about this gate, we're talking about the desire for the next perfect experience. When you carry the energy of the Gate 30, everything is amped up and intensified, and this holds true for the full channel, the channel of recognition. The whole point of the Gate 30, also called the clinging fire in the I Ching, is to hold on to the ideas and inspirations of the fantasy of the 41 until the timing is correct. As expected, this energy can be intense because it gives people the passion to manifest their fantasies or dreams into reality. But because this energy amps up everything it touches, there can be potential for burnout. What that means is that when you carry this energy, you can burn yourself out, especially if you're not living to your type. Like if you're a generator type, but you're trying to act like a manifester and you're trying to initiate instead of responding to what life shows you. And the burnout can come from hitting a lot of brick walls and things just not turning out the way you want them to. This energy can also burn others out because there can be an incessant conversation about the same theme over and again, and people can get frustrated with the intensity of it. This is not the design of a mellow personality. In its highest form, the Gate 30 is a fuel for creative inspiration, and it gives energy for endurance and resilience. And with right timing and clarity, this energy can be the driving force that brings your wildest dreams into reality. And that's why it's really important to know how to use this energy to your benefit. Which means that it's always important to remember that this is emotional energy. And as all emotional energy does, there are stages of joy and melancholy, and a need for clarity on when to push forward and when to wait. In many ways, it's about surrender to what life brings and accepting limitations. Because with all abstract energy, the experience is one that isn't tried and true, and so you're learning as you go. So it's important to remember that no matter what your type is, using your strategy and authority as a guide will show you what to hold on to and what to release. And by knowing this, there's potential for you to avoid the burnout. And as much as there can be fantasy for dreams and goals, there can also be sexual fantasies that can be rich when you carry this energy. As with all solar plexus gates, there can be fear or an emotional nervousness in the energy. And in this case, it's all about fate stepping in and changing your plans. This nervousness says that even though you've done all the things possible to have a good experience, sometimes things happen that shift your planned trajectory. For this reason, expectation can be one of the best ways to be disappointed. And acceptance of what is can make the experience all the more enjoyable. And it all comes down to fate. In fact, fate is one of the biggest components of the energy. If we go back to the Gate 30, we have what might be considered a role gate that speaks to how we deal with the experiences of life. It's all about how life and how the fates get in the way of our desires. The fates aren't exactly as the mythology talks about when it comes to human design, so let's explore the myth and then circle back to the human design perspective. The Mirai, also called the Fates, were found both in Greek and Roman mythology. Though their origins of birth were slightly different, the main aspects stayed the same. There were 3 goddesses, and the 3 goddesses followed every step in a human life. all the actions that a human took, as well as the consequences that followed. The prophecy of every human life was symbolized by pieces of thread. As soon as someone was born, Clotho, one of the goddesses, spun the thread of life. The next goddess, called Lachesis, measured and predicted a life from birth to death. And last was Atropos, also called the Inevitable, who would cut the thread of life when a human's life was at its conclusion. Ra-Uru-Hu stated many times over his career that he had a deep love for mythology. So that's probably why he used the word the fates when he talked about the way our lives are altered by the unexpected, and how also that the best laid plans, no matter what they are, can always go awry. Every one of us have a part of our life that we rely on because we know that the patterns will repeat, and we can predict that something will happen because it always happens that way. So for instance, if we take a bus and there's a schedule, we can predict that the bus will come when the schedule says it will. Sometimes, of course, that doesn't happen exactly the way we expect, but for the most part, there are predictable patterns that we can count on. And other times in our lives, the patterns aren't predictable, and the path to our goals and dreams are less certain and more about starting and just seeing what happens as we go along. And sometimes nothing works as we expect it to, and this is when we learn about the fates, the unknown or unexpected obstacles that cross our path. For many of us, the unexpected is never welcome, unless, of course, it's perceived as something positive. But if there's anything that we can attest to, it's that life is unexpected, and sometimes things just show up out of the blue. And the lines of the Gate 30 tell us how each particular person who holds a specific profile deals with the unexpected experiences of life. This is collective abstract energy that says the journey to our dream destination can sometimes be the best part of all. Because after we've achieved the goal, the memory is all that remains. And if you've not been in the present moment during the journey, your memories will not be clear. And since satisfaction in any goal achieved is fleeting, the memory is all the more important, and that's why it's so important to remain in the moment of everything and to appreciate the journey as much as you do the destination. When Ra-Uru-Hu talked about the energy of the Gate 30, he said there is a thirst for destiny and a hunger for change that comes with this energy. Consciousness only expands when we step out of the patterns and into the abstract, or the parts of life where we just don't know where it's all going to go, and yet we surrender to the experience and enjoy the journey. And as we go on, it's important to know that every barrier that comes in your way is there for you to learn. The fates, in fact, are not there to stop you, but to redirect you. And it's important to remember that the fates get in the way of all of us. And when a barrier does come, it's time to let your mind relax and to see and to learn what needs to be learned. And when you learn the lesson of the fates and the key to navigating the world, once again the mandala of life spins. And when it does, that thing that you only dreamed about somehow gets a little closer. And you can imagine that it might someday be yours, if only you believe that there is no need to fight. Because there's enough for everyone, no matter what people tell you. And if you surrender to the Gate 55 and do all you can in the first phase of change, you can rest assured that no matter how much you feel your life will never get better, the universe really does have your back. Well, that's all for now, and I'll be back next week with the next gate of the Mandala of Life, the Gate 55, the Gate of Abundance. And also be sure to check out the bonus video that I made about each line of the Gate 30 and how it shows how you specifically deal with all the experiences and the obstacles in your path. But for now, take care, and I'll see you soon.